back to Voices for the Voiceless. It's your boy Jay Taylor. Peace and blessings, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday or whatever day that you catch this video. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Man, it's a beautiful day today. Started off kind of chilly, but it done warmed up. I'm over here at the gig, and man, I just gotta call a spade on this one. And as the title says, the president of Ghana wants reparations for the Atlantic slave trade. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So the president of Ghana went before the United Nations, which is basically uh, the whole entire world, and presented a case that, you know, Africans should receive reparations. And there was a vote, and it was almost maybe 200 countries that casted their vote. You know, I believe it was like 123 countries that were in favor. Like 52 countries didn't vote at all, and three countries just flat out voted no, not in favor. And those three countries were the United States, were uh, Argentina, and Israel. And majority of the other countries that didn't vote were, westernized countries in Europe and things of that nature. Majority of like China, Russia, they all voted in favor. All the other nations in Asia, and in Africa voted in favor. But that being in itself has created some sort of a narrative that, they didn't vote in favor of it because of racism and this, that, and the third. And, which some of that could be true, whether they didn't vote or voted no, it could be. But I beg to differ that it don't have much to do with racism than, how it's presented. Because if you know anything about the transatlantic slave trade, Ghana is West African. The people that, see, one of the things we got to understand is this, and not understand that a lot of black people, specifically in America, don't want to acknowledge this. Like when our ancestors were brought here to America, we were not just captured by the white man. It didn't work like that. They didn't just come on the western shores of Africa and just start snatching up black people. There was people that were being captured, people that were being sold. It was big business. And nations like Ghana, which they probably wouldn't call Ghana back then, different African kingdoms actually captured other Africans, and it was a barter system with the white people that came over there. That they paid for the slaves. So our ancestors were captured. So for a place like Ghana to say that they want reparations when the people that are your ancestors are the people that actually made money off the slave trade, they were complicit in the slave trade. I mean, it's ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous that you would say that you want reparations for the Atlantic slave trade. This, like I said, if you look it up, man, they got peace treaties and all type of treaties that were signed by kings and at that time, that they probably still got these documentations of these treaties that were signed. So it's like, if you didn't go through the Middle Passage, if your ancestors stayed on the continent and probably were the ones that were capturing other Black Africans and selling them, how can you ask for reparations? Right? Now, I would argue that by the fact that you put, what, 9 times out of 10, your ancestors were complicit and probably were a part of the slave trade. If anything, you should be paying. I'm thinking like, well, maybe they want to pay for their participation in the Atlantic slave trade. I mean, make it make sense. How did you participate as part of the slave trade but want reparations 5, 6 centuries later? I mean, listen, if your ancestors didn't end up in the Caribbeans, in South and North America, on one at any of these islands, in the ocean, North American, I don't think that you would qualify. I don't think that you're qualified to request reparations. So I think that's more the reason why, people didn't vote. And some people just flat out, like countries like United States flat out said no. And for Black Americans to feel a way that the Trump administration said no, I mean, you got to think about it. We have a very unique experience that we deserve reparations. Really, like our ancestors have a unique experience that we have an argument for reparations. It just has to be put together and taken seriously by the government, right? And the right people have to be speaking the language. Because see, we're not. You're talking about Africans. We're not Africans in America. We may have African descent, but we're not Africans. Once we were sold to whoever it came through that Middle Passage, we were no longer Africans. All of that was stripped from us. We don't even know what African country or nation or kingdom or whatever we come from. For the most part, I mean, some people may have traced back their lineage and they know, but for the most part, we don't know like what country in Africa we came from. I don't know. I think that if you don't, pardon me, God bless you. If you don't share that type of understanding, if you know exactly what country you come from in Africa, if your ancestors didn't go through the Middle Passage and you didn't wind up in the United States or Jamaica or Cuba or Puerto Rico or any of these African descended nations that have that lineage, how can you it's insane. And Trump basically threw Black people in America a bone with the 14th Amendment when the illegal immigrants was over here trying to use the 14th Amendment as birthright citizenship. Trump went on national television and said, birthright citizenship is for the descendants and the babies of slaves in America. That's a pathway right to reparations for Black Americans. If we were to build on that and really put something together that was conducive and substantive, you have an argument right there, because we we weren't deported to America. We didn't come here on our free will. We were born here because we were brought here, and therefore we were automatically citizens of this nation. And due to the fact that our ancestors went through what they went through in this nation, and we've built this nation, and we fought in every war in this nation's history, we have a unique argument for reparations. Now, I'm not one of these people that go around and whine about getting reparations. I mean, I don't knock nobody for going out there advocating for that, but I just don't, because I'm gonna be honest with you. It may or may not happen, but I'm too focused on day-to-day life to be worried about if the government gonna cut me a check. You know what I'm saying? Because of something that my ancestors went through. So I don't put too much energy into something I don't have no control over. What I had control over is getting up every day, working hard, just fix these laws, because systemic racism do exist when you look at a lot of statistics. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, just give me a fair shot and I'm gonna work hard at it. And that's my reparations. That's just how I rationalize it. So I don't trip on it like other people do. But at the same time, I ain't knocking it either. You know, if we able to get reparations, yeah, I'm gonna take it because we deserve it. I mean, look, every other people that went through, something similar, they got theirs. Native Americans got theirs. Japanese Americans got theirs. Chinese Americans and I would say the only people in America that got anything comparable to what we've been through would be the Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? But just about every other group of people, I mean, Jewish people got reparations. They're not in America, but I think America has something to do with paying them. So why wouldn't Black Americans get it? And all we gonna do is, we Black people, man, we ain't gonna do nothing but spin it right back. We gonna stimulate the economy, baby. We gonna go get us a Cadillac, put some 24s on it. We gonna support the American made car system. We gonna go support Walmart, Target every day. We gonna stimulate the economy. We might, buy a couple phones or something. Now I'm just playing though, but that if we do get reparations, man, don't splurge your money. But yeah, man. So to me, this ain't nothing but a finesse from Ghana, man. The president out here of Ghana talking about Africans need reparations ain't nothing but a finesse. And he running around with Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and all these Democrats. See, this gonna be a talking point in midterms right around the corner. The Democrats gonna run with the narrative. We tried to get reparations, and we was over there on the world stage with the president of Ghana trying to get reparations for Black people. Newsflash: you think if they get reparations in Ghana, you think Black Americans are gonna see a dime of that money? You out your rabbit ass mind. They ain't gonna give you nothing. Ghana get that money, and they ancestors ain't even go through nothing. They trying to spin a block. They already got paid. See, they trying to finesse because see, when Trump got in office, he discontinued a lot of this extra funding that a lot of these African nations was getting. You know what I'm saying? And I was listening to Tariq Nasheed, and I'm like, oh, yeah, so shout out to Tariq Nasheed. He broke that down how, I forgot about that. So they trying to make up, you know what I'm saying, for what they ain't getting in them in some of that spending that they used to get. So they trying to cover their tracks. But they not thinking about Black Americans. The descendants of the ancestors that really went through the Middle Passage, really went through those ships, and made it over here to the Caribbean, made it to South America, made it to the United States. In fact, they were the ones who sold us to the people that brought us here. Are you insane? I'm just saying, bro, like, people got to make this make sense to me. You know, that's like me sitting up here, man, and kidnapping somebody. And, all right, bro, we're going to kidnap this family. You know, because they had spears and everything. They was, you know, or setting somebody up to get kidnapped. And then we like, yeah, we gonna, you know, take them over here. We know they gonna be, you know, a slave. But hey, they about to pay us this amount of money, man. We gonna get 100 bands. You know what I'm saying? We got a family of 4, 25K a head. We sell them to the people. We know they ain't gonna treat them right because they slaves anyway. But you know what? We didn't know we didn't know that they whole family was gonna get treated so badly and their grandkids, and now we look back like, man, y'all tricked us. Y'all ain't tell us y'all was gonna treat them that bad. We need some more money, huh? Y'all treated we kidnapped them thinking we gave you them in good faith that you was just gonna treat them a little bad. We didn't know you was gonna have them go through, you know, being on slave plantations and going through fighting and going through the Underground Railroad and fighting for civil rights and Jim Crow. We didn't know they was gonna have to deal with police brutality and unfair job markets and, man, all this stuff they had to deal with. You tricked us. Now we need some more money. We didn't go through none of that stuff. We didn't go through the civil rights movement. We didn't fight for their rights. We go over there to their land, though, and benefit from everything they fought for. But when they come here, we don't grant them they don't grant us no automatic citizenship when we go to Africa. They look at us like what? Black Americans, understand this. You go to Africa, they gonna look at you like a gringo. They ain't looking at everybody black over there. They ain't thinking about that. They look at you and they can smell the American westernized civilization on you. They gonna try to finesse you. How many times I covered this on this platform with people that moved back to Africa and all they did was get scammed and finessed and brought and try. If they ain't back, they trying to come back. It's very few that go out there and stay. Not to say that it's not possible. The vast majority turn around and come right back. But they put you through a lot to get citizenship out there. They want you to spend that American dollar over there. So I don't have no automatic affinity. You know, I don't have nothing. Make no mistake. I don't have no hard feelings towards Africa. You know, I don't have no hard feelings. Hey, the past is the past. But what we not gonna do is sit up here and advocate for y'all to get money that our ancestors went through, that we could be getting. And if they got and make no mistake, and I got to say this, if Ghana get any type of money, and the United States said yes, we gonna be paying for that money through our tax dollars too. They gonna take our taxes and give it to Ghana for something our ancestors went through that they sold us into. Are you thinking? You can't be. So yeah, man, we not falling for it, man. We not falling for the banana in the tailpipe whatsoever, man. And I didn't really want to get this too much light because it's silly, but I know they framing a narrative out there about some racism, man. This ain't got nothing to do with that, man. That's what they gonna run with in the midterms. I bet you. You heard it here first. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. And until next time, we shall see you soon. Peace and blessings.